Okay, if you receive this email from me and this YouTube video link, that means you're in my English 252 class this semester online. Um, Welcome. My name is Jeremy Jackson. You can see here looking at the course outline. That's really what I want to do today is just go over the course outline, sort of set some of the ground rules, excuse me, for this class. Maybe some of this stuff that we're going to go over today inside this course outline is newer to you. It might be confusing. It'll get easier as the semester progresses, I promise. But let's quickly just go over this. So the framework of the class is this. We're going to meet 3 times a week. That is to say, I'm going to send you a YouTube link 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, around 1 o'clock on those days that we have a lecture. Right? The lecture is going to be around 40 to 50 minutes long. You don't have to listen to them on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday that I send you the link. You can listen to them whenever you want. But the really big takeaway is we're not going to meet face to face anytime during the semester. I know that sounds odd, but that's the way this online course is going to be structured. However, as a caveat to that, I do have office hours here at Medicine Hat College, and you can see here under office hours. So every day I'm here from 9:50 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. in my office, which is room S130, as you can see here, um, on campus. You can drop by anytime if you wish to talk about any confusions, any areas that you need to be further explained. That's fine. The best way to reach me, however, is right here, my email. Right? You can feel free to email me um, at any time during the day, and I'll get back to you within reason. Obviously, if you email me at 2:30 in the morning, I'm not going to get back to you within an hour, but I will typically get back to you within an hour of any questions you might have. My office phone number is right here. I don't get a lot of phone calls, so as I said, the best way to reach me is through my email. Today is Monday, January 8th, and as I said, welcome to the class. Just going to read straight through the course outline. This is Introductory Composition, English 252. The calendar description reads as thus. This course focuses on academic essay writing and critical thinking at the university level. So that's really what this class is about. We're going to write essays. We're going to deal with concepts. We're going to think about topics. There's 4 essays to the entire class. The first essay we're going to see in a moment with a detailed description is your personal essay. You're going to tell a story about yourself, something that happened to you in the past, and I'm going to give you an example before you write your own essay. Your second essay is what's called an expository essay, where you're going to inform the reader almost journalistically, like a newspaper article, without persuading. You're going to inform the reader on the subject matter that you choose. Every essay this semester that you write, you choose the topic. Of course, you can come to me, either in my office or through email, and say, hey, I really don't know what to write about. Can you give me some ideas? And of course, I will. And we're going to look at many essay examples from prior students and many essay topics from prior semesters this semester. So I think you're going to have enough ideas. But suffice it to say, you can still reach out to me if you want any suggestions on what you're writing about this semester. The third essay is going to be argumentative. You're going to argue on behalf of a debatable topic, and you're going to choose one side, and it's going to have to be clear what side of the debatable topic you fall on. And the last essay of this class towards the end of the semester is the research essay. And we're going to see that sort of is argumentative and expository at the same time. It informs the reader, but also argues on behalf of a topic. And we'll get to that later. As I said, some of this might be confusing and overwhelming at first. I think once we get past the first cycle of the personal essay, our first cycle of one essay, it's going to make more sense how the structure and landscape of this class operates. So English 252, just rereading the course description, is not a remedial course. Students should have at least a senior high school level of competency in both grammar and composition. I don't think that's going to be an issue. Note, students cannot receive credit for both English 252 and Gen Ed 1401. It's a 3-credit class, as you can see here. Just as right here, this statement, I can be available to meet at other times outside the framework and purview of the office hours listed here. But you need to email me well in advance. You don't have to do well in advance. Just email me whenever you have a question, and we'll try to hammer out a time we can meet, or just communicate through email in and of itself. This is put in, the statement right here was put in during the pandemic because the sort of timeline for the course outline changed a great deal. So program delivery may be subject to change due to the health uh, or other factors beyond Medicine College's control, right? Certainly that was the case during the pandemic. In terms of the learning resources, with the text that's required for this class is right here. You can go to this link and purchase it. You still have to go to the campus bookstore to pick it up, I believe. I don't think they mail it to you. You can go online and do Amazon Books. to find this book right here. This is the book for the test, The Empowered Writer. It has to be the 4th edition. There's third edition floating around. I use 3rd edition for the past 6 years here, but the publisher, Oxford University Press Canada, is published a new book, the 4th edition. And if you do the 3rd edition, the chapters don't line up that we have to do. The only reason we're using the book this semester, the Empowered Writer 4th edition, is to do chapter summaries. And a chapter summary, I think there's like 6 or 7 of them. And what it is, you just read the chapter and you summarize the main points and say just one paragraph. It doesn't have to be much. Or I've had students in the past just bulletize the main points of a chapter. And then you're going to upload it to Blackboard. Everything we do this semester, obviously, since we're meeting face-to-face, is going to be uploaded to Blackboard. Before anything is due, I will email you with the detailed instructions on how you load it to Blackboard, whether that's the essay rough draft, or whether that's the essay final, or whether that's the chapter summary. I'll email you with detailed instructions. So this is the book. I think the easiest way to get the Empowered Writers is to come on campus if you're local, and I think most of you will be, and just go to the campus bookstore and buy it. So they have options. You can go to the campus bookstore and buy the physical book of the Empowered Writer 4th edition. They also have a QR code by the book that you could scan and buy the online ebook version of it, which is $40. I think it's much cheaper. I think it's $90 for the physical book. So up to you. You want to have a physical book in front of you. I implore students too to even share the expense, like go half on the book with someone else. You're just doing chapter summaries. You're not reading the whole book. Okay, so course objectives and learning outcomes. So students successfully completing English 252, this class, should be able to do the following. 1, think critically when analyzing various literary works. So the literary works we're going to look at are a number of professional essays, a few of them, some spoken word poetry, as well as the student essay examples from prior semesters. So I had some students write some really good essays and some not so good essays from the past. I said, hey, do you mind if I use this as an example in future classes? They said, yeah, no problem. So I take out their name from the paper so they don't, sort of have to account for it being their essay. And then we look at it and we say, hey, this is what's good about this essay and this is what's bad about this essay. And we give it a grade even. I say to you, what do you think the grade is? And I'll say, well, it's probably in the A range, lower A range, right? And then you'll be able to see what a lower A range essay is or a B range. And we look at all sorts of different types of essay this semester and critically analyze them. That's the main point I wanted to make about point number 1. So point number 2, distinguish between a text's main points and its supporting details. So a main point in your essays this semester, all your essays except for the personal essay, the main point will be what's called a thesis statement. Many of you will be familiar with this. This is just a review, right? A thesis statement is just the main point, what the essay is about to explore, right? Within, say, I was writing an argumentative essay on climate change, saying that climate change is rapidly increasing. So I would say within this essay, I'm going to explore the idea that climate change is rapidly increasing because of X, Y, and Z, right? So I summarize my points right next to the thesis statement. And then we explore those points within the essay. You don't have to sort of master that idea right now of the thesis statement, but it's going to become important later. And we're going to look at many examples later on in the semester, even before you turn in anything. So the text main point is a thesis statement, and the supporting details are what I said for the summary of points, the X, Y, and Z. So 3, summarize another author's work. That's takes the form of when you get to the expository essay and the argumentative essay and the research essay, that you have to go out there and do research and borrow from outside authority, right? You can't be the sole authority within your essay, other than the personal essay where you are the sole authority. You don't need any entries. You don't need a works cited page. You don't need any references on the personal essay. But the rest you will, and we're going to look at that in a moment, what that looks like. 4, use correct grammatical form. That's going to be a journey for a lot of us in this class. I've noticed from semester to semester, you have individuals that are pretty, solid with regard to grammar and punctuation, and there's individuals that need to catch up. And I'll make sure that I comment on all that for each of you. Excuse me. 5, write unified, coherent, and complete sentences, paragraphs, and essays. So the big one with this one, number 5, is complete sentences. All the time, seemingly every semester, not every student within the class, but I get paragraphs and that have sentences that are not sentences. They're incomplete. They're fragmented. So we need to make sure that we're writing complete sentences, right? Number 6, argue logically and ethically, showing sensitivity to audience in both written and oral presented formats. So there is no oral component to this class, right? Obviously, because we're not meeting face to face. 7, use research sources effectively to support a well-constructed argument, including the following abilities. So once we get to the argumentative essay and the research essay, this is what this is really speaking towards. So locate appropriate sources using the library catalog, article databases, and the internet. So of course, the question arises every semester within introductory composition is, do all my sources have to be academic? Do all my sources have to be peer research or reviewed rather? And no, the answer is no. There's plenty of good information out there that exist here within the realm of the internet, right? Gone are the days that we sit down to a brick and mortar library and stay there all weekend and pulling books from the shelves and rifling through them to find information that we want to quote, paraphrase, or summarize within our essay, right? We stick with the internet with a lot of stuff, right? Um, that being said, we will have a class where we go over Medicine College's library article databases, which are great, right? Those are peer-reviewed sources. But the internet has a plethora of places and resources that are great to integrate into your essay, right? To quote from. Newspaper articles, journal articles, university websites have great information. Um, periodicals of all sorts of ilk that we're going to be able to pull from. What we want to do is what this second point refers to is evaluate sources for suitability and credibility. And that means this. You're going to do research on a topic that you've chosen. You're going to go out to the internet. You're going to find some information. You got to be able to sort of self-vet that website to make sure it's not some, I don't know, 55-year-old conspiracy theorist blogging out of his mom's basement about something that's simply not true. It has misinformation or disinformation component to it, right? We can't do that, right? If you need to view them, feel as if you cannot self-evaluate and self-vet that source, then you need to send me the link, and I'll try to help you do that. And I'll say, yes, this is a great source, or no, this seems like a bad source. This third point under number 7 is integrate sources smoothly and logically into text. So if we find a source and we want to direct quote it and throw it into our essay, we don't just plop it into our essay. We got to give it context. What does it have to do with our argument, with our thesis statement? How does it reach back and reinforce our thesis statement? But we're going to look at many examples of past student essayists that were in my prior classes that were able to do that successfully. So hopefully you'll be able to sort of mirror that idea and concept. Last point, subpoint under 7, is document sources correctly using a recognized citation style. Um, so the only citation style we're using this within the purview of this class is what's called MLA formatting style, and that's become very important. It's an important component of your grade for all your essays. So the MLA stands for Modern Language Association Formatting Style. They dictate, they're an organization that dictates what every English essay has to look like. We're going to have a giant lecture on this next class, right, on Wednesday. I believe. We're going to look at the schedule in a moment. It'll make more sense. It'll be a struggle for a lot of us as the semester progresses, but I'm going to give you plenty of feedback and we're going to look at plenty of examples of what MLA looks like. We cannot turn in an essay this semester within this class that is written in APA formatting style. It has to be MLA. I can't stress that enough. Okay. Detailed courses, content, and sequencing. So what are the dates when things are due, right? So English 252 is an introductory university level composition course designed to focus on academic essay writing and critical thinking. In order to enhance their current skills, students will study examples of effective writing and compose various written and oral assignments on their own. Obviously, as mentioned before, there is no oral component to this class. Wherever possible, English 252 is designed to recognize students' personal interests. We'll come back to that in a moment. Objectives and learning styles. To that end, this course will provide flexible and different styles of writing with varying modes of delivery. So I mentioned this idea right here, recognize students' personal interest, and that's fine. Whatever essay you want to write moving forward, whether that's the expository, which we said before is an essay that wants to inform the reader on a subject matter, the argumentative, which wants to argue on behalf of a debatable topic, or the research. You could choose something that you are personally interested in, right? I had a student a couple semesters ago, a couple students. They were from Saskatchewan and they came from a farming community, cattle herding, and so they were both highly interested in writing about that, and that was fine. You could tell their passion about that because they were personally interested in it. It was in their family, right, for generations. So that's fine, yeah. Or I implore students as well, you could jump on the other side of that, right? and write about something that you really don't know much about, and you want to go research that and then write about it to inform yourself and maybe become passionate about it. Up to you. As I said, you can always any topic that you choose this semester for any of your essays is steered by you. It's you choosing that topic. You can always come to me or email me and say, "Hey, I really don't know what topic to choose. Is there any way you can help me with that?" Right? And of course I will. I'll send you a list and we'll go over that together. The following schedule is provisional, as we may need to adjust the sequencing depending on the pace of our online discussions. And I would say, for the most part, uh, the schedule might change a bit. It always has to be tweaked somewhat during the semester. Let's see. Let's look at the detailed content of this course. January 8th, today, introduction to the course and class expectations, right? We're just reading the course outline, um, establishing lines of communication when you can email me, right? How you can contact me, stop on my office hours, things of that nature. Wednesday, January 10th. So notice it's always Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Unless we have it off for some sort of holiday. We're going to review the rubric for next class on Wednesday. And the rubric is just a document we're going to look at. And you might be familiar with it. And it just outlines what an A paper looks like. It gives you actually language that says, hey, this is what an A paper does in terms of how it's written, its academic rigor, as well as its MLA, its Modern Language Association formatting style, how it looks as an English essay, or if it doesn't, right? And then it distinguishes what and discerns what an A versus a B versus a C all the way down. So we're going to look at that. January 12th, Friday, review MLA formatting style, right? So we're going to get a 50-minute PowerPoint on what a Modern Language Association formatting style English essay looks like. January 15th, review elements of personal essay with examples. So we're going to say, I'm going to give you a document. We're going to look at it together and say it won't be a document. It'll be an actual YouTube video. This is what an actual um, English essay should look like in terms of a personal essay. And then we're going to look at a really good example. It was written a few years ago by one of my students. She was non-traditional student, meaning that she didn't matriculate from high school directly to college. She was probably in her late 30s, early 40s, and she could tell she was really well read and could write really well. It was an A+ paper, and I don't think I've ever handed out an A+ for any paper ever in many years I've been teaching. But this definitely was a great paper. It was a story, a personal essay about her experience with her boyfriend in 1990s. Gosh, I can't remember where it was. It was in Canada, out west here. But they went on a trip to go stay at a cabin in the woods. And the next day after they arrived, they went out and started to explore, to collect seashells. And before they knew it, the tide came in, and turns out they were on an island. So they were surrounded by water. And so from there, it unfolds on how they get out of the situation. It was a really good essay. It's well written. We're going to look at it and we're going to pull from it and parse from it what makes it really compelling and evocative for a personal essay. Okay, we're going to January 17th, Wednesday, we're going to review common errors that I see every year in punctuation and style. That'll help you out, hopefully. The 19th, we're going to look at a really good professional essay written in the 1990s called Black Men and Public Space. It entails a writer named uh, Brent Staples, African American, in Chicago and New York at the time, both as a student and as a journalist, and how he was targeted and stereotyped a lot by white people. And it's his personal journey, it's his personal essay of his experience during that time. And then I'm going to give you till midnight to comment. I'll send you some instructions to go on the Blackboard and participate in what's called a Blackboard discussion. Some of you might be familiar with that, some of you might not. It's not that hard. You have 3 options, and I'll email you that day what your options are, but I'll just review them right now. So the Blackboard discussion requires you to, 1, react to something I state. I'm going to put like 5 statements about the essay, Black Men in Public Space, on Blackboard, and you can just reply to that. Say, oh yeah, you could sort of expand on whatever it is I'm saying. You can't just say, oh, I agree, right? It's got to be 2 to 3 sentences where you have an original thought uh, in regards to replying to my statements. Or you can come up with your own original thought without even replying to my statements. Or you can reply to some other student's thought that they posted. All right, so 3 options for that, and I'll detail that later on when we actually comes to when we get closer to January 19th. January 22nd, so we're still in January, Monday, review pandemic personal essay. So we've got a really good essay. It might be this essay. I have another option we might use. This is kind of a long essay. It takes about 50 minutes to read. It was published in USA Today a few years ago during the pandemic. And what it details is this woman, journalist, Amanda Monte, detailing how the pandemic, her personal experience during the pandemic, and mostly how she became, for all intents and purposes, an alcoholic during the pandemic because of the isolation. Yeah, January 24th, personal essay rough draft workshop via Blackboard. So that's the other two components. Sorry, we're not meeting face to face, so there's only one workshop component. Typically, if we were meeting face to face, we'd have an in-class workshop where we read our essays aloud and we all give feedback to each other, peer review, right? And then we would upload to Blackboard and then peer review it on Blackboard. We're only going to do the peer review on Blackboard. So what this personal essay rough draft workshop entails is I'll email you that morning on January 24th. I'll say, hey, you have until midnight to upload your personal essay rough draft, and it could be just that, to Blackboard. And as soon as that window closes out midnight, the next day, you get assigned 3 randomly assigned student essay from our class. And you have a couple days to reply to them saying, to post comments, substantive commentary back to them about what they can fix or what they're doing right, what you believe they can fix or what they're doing correct within their essay and how it's working. And that's sort of the class participation component of this class is the online workshop for Blackboard, via Blackboard. Let's see. We continue with it on the Friday, and we continue with it on Monday, the online personal essay rough draft workshop, and your comments on the 3 randomly assigned student essays to you. January 31st, and this will all make more sense once we get past the first cycle of essays. It'll become easier, less confusing, less complex. January 31st, Wednesday, review Knock Knock, spoken word poetry. Great spoken word poetry. It's about 3 minutes long. Again, African-American individual a couple years ago. Delivered a spoken word poem called Knock Knock about his relationship with his father, his personal relationship with his father, especially the idea of his father being African American and being in the prison system. And he sort of speaks towards the over representation of African Americans in the prison systems in America and how that affected him and, and his ability to break the legacy of incarceration within his family. Then part of that lecture will be review elements of expository essay. Our next essay, you can see we moved on to expository. And then that night by midnight, you have to post chapter 6 summary due via Blackboard. So your first chapter summary will be due by midnight to Blackboard. And I'll send you instructions for all of this. And we're also going to look at not only elements of expository, but also an example of expository essay, which will be really good and informative for us, giving us a model and a schematic moving forward, right? Excuse me. February 2nd, Friday, review expository essay example again. So another example. And then your final personal essay. You see, now we're done with the first essay. We would have written the rough draft. We would have uploaded it to Blackboard. 3 other students would have commented on our essay and say, hey, you can do this or you can do that. Up to you. You don't have to listen to them. And now the finals do. And it will be due via Blackboard. And I'll send you an email that day on February 2nd saying, hey, you have until midnight to upload your personal essay polished final essay to Blackboard so that I can grade it. And this is how you do it. And I'll give you detailed instructions for uploading it. The 5th, February, moving right along, Monday. Another expository essay example. Great. February 7th, we're going to look at database research methods. So we're actually going to have a whole YouTube video of me exploring topics on Medicine Hat's college's library website databases, where we can actually look at or put a couple words in there to research ideas in their concepts and see what we can put together in terms of how we can effectively search on a database without getting too much information that's overwhelming and without getting too little information, which is underwhelming. February 9th, Friday, expository essay, rough draft workshop via Blackboard. And we're going to stick with that on the 12th as well. And we're going to stick with that on the February 14th, the Wednesday. And then your chapter 9 summary due via Blackboard. And that'll be due by midnight. Again, I'll send you an email saying, hey, you need this due by midnight, your chapter 9 summary. Do the following in order to upload it to Blackboard. So on February 16th, Friday, there's a number of things that we should avoid, that we must avoid in order to write an essay. And that's called logical fallacies. And there's a number of them. We're going to go over like 40 of them. And they're things that People who are argumenting and delivering speeches often use in order to persuade their listeners or their reader. And a lot of times it's what politicians sort of use, right, to convince their constituency to vote for them. And they're falsities, they're lies in a lot of ways, right? So the best example I can give, one of them is called ad hominem. A lot of them are Latin terms. So ad hominem means attacking the person. You're attacking how the person looks, right? Or something about a flaw within their personality, as opposed to attacking their policy if they're a politician, right? What they believe in, their belief system. All right. So example, Donald Trump uses a lot of ad hominems. He insults. So for example, Hillary Clinton, crooked Hillary he calls her, right? So that's attacking the person as opposed to their policies and belief systems. Sleepy Joe Biden, right? Because he's older, Joe Biden is, despite the fact that Donald Trump's only a couple years younger, right? And a number of them. He just comes up with an insulting and disparaging term for a lot of his foes. And that's called ad hominem. And that's a logical fallacy that we should avoid within our own writing. No classes, February 19th to 23rd. So that'll be welcoming to a lot of people. And then we come down to February 26th, where we reconvene. In terms of me sending you videos, YouTube videos, because we're not meeting face to face. We're going to review elements of argumentative essay with examples. So we moved on from expository, right, down to argumentative after we already finished turning in our personal essay final. So we look at a great example of an argumentative essay. Then we're on the 28th, we're going to look at another argumentative essay. That'll be the sole class, what we do. March 1st, we're going to look at a speech, a master class on what's called the three appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos. And what that entails is the way we argument. The ancient Greeks philosophers, about 2,500 years ago, in the city-state of Athens, ancient Greece, came up with the three appeals. They said, hey, this is how argumentation is actually built. The architecture of argumentation is thus: ethos, authority, right? Both our authority on the subject matter, but also borrowing from outside authority, right? Quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing other people's words in order to buttress or underscore our own thesis statement. They said that this is important as well. Pathos, and we're going to go over this later. Emotion, infusing emotion within our essay, within our speeches, right? Not too much. You can't have emotion be the sole driving force and hydraulics of your essay, but certainly there can be some part of that. And then logos, logic, right? Is it logically sound what you're positing within your thesis statement and what information you're providing to underscore your thesis statement? So one of the greatest speeches that I've heard recently, in recent times, is one by Governor Andrew Cuomo in his resignation speech. Andrew Cuomo, if you don't know, was the governor of New York State for years, and he resigned a couple years ago because of like 6 or 7 allegations of sexual misconduct brought forward by his staff. And in his masterclass speech that he gave on CNN, it was picked up by CNN. It's about 22 or 23 minutes long. He incorporates masterfully all three of the main appeals of argumentation: ethos, pathos, and logos. Authority. He, as a governor, is an authority. His language is authoritative. He enters emotion at some point, and it just makes sense what he's saying. It's logical. And hopefully that'll help us when we sit down to craft our own essays, argumentative essays. March 4th, argumentative essay rough draft workshop via Blackboard. So just like the personal essay, you're going to upload. I'm going to send you an email that morning or by 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. that day, and say, hey, you have until midnight to upload your argumentative essay rough draft to Blackboard. This is how you do it. And when that window closes at midnight, excuse me, you're each going to get automatically sent 3 random student argumentative essays, rough drafts that you have to comment on each of them. Just a couple, doesn't have to be much, doesn't have to be even a whole paragraph, just a couple lines, couple sentences rather, of substantive feedback that can help the student move forward. And hopefully they'll do the same for you. And then you can see on the 4th, March 4th, your final expository essay will be due via Blackboard, and I will send you instructions for that to upload it to Blackboard. March 6th, Wednesday, argumentative essay rough draft workshop via Blackboard continues. So we're sticking with the argumentative essay workshop, and we're staying with that on March 11th as well. So each essay gets 3 days of workshopping, a whole week. And then your chapter 10 summary is due via Blackboard by midnight on March 11th, and I'll send you instructions for that on that day. March 13th, review elements of research essay with examples. So now we're on the final phase, right? We're making our way to the finish line of this semester already. March 13th, research essay, our final essay due in this class. And we're going to look at exactly what the essays have to look like in a minute, how long they have to be, how many outside sources they have to use. March 15th, review elements of research essay with example again. So we're spend these days looking at examples that will help you in terms of coming up with a subject matter that you want to choose, but also how the essay will actually operate. March 18th, research that matters. We're going to look at relevant topics in research because that's one of the most important things. And I would say for all your essays this semester is choose topics that are important and even urgent, right? So concepts that we're dealing with in society, um, both Canadian society, but also Western society writ large, right? So ideas that we're grappling with every day that are debatable and that need to be addressed, right? We're going to look at important examples of those things, subject matters that are important. 20th of March, review elements of research essay with example again. Great. March 22nd, final argumentative essay due via Blackboard. I'll send you instructions that morning to say, hey, you have until midnight, like the previous essays, to upload your argumentative essay final to Blackboard. And then I'm going to set up an ability for you to upload your thesis statement to Blackboard. We might do it that way. I think we get a discussion. Yeah, we either do a discussion on Blackboard, we upload your thesis statement. It can be just that, just a rough draft thesis statement. What you think your final research essay is going to be on, right? It doesn't have to be set in stone. It could change. In fact, it might even be apt to change eventually. And then I just want to comment on, I've seen every essay under the sun for the past 15 years as teaching at the university level. So I'll be able to give you some substantive feedback and direction to make sure that there's enough robust information out there in your preliminary research to carry the breadth of this essay. So we might do a discussion in Blackboard, or I might just have you email to me and I'll just reply back to you. We'll see once we get close to March 22nd. Chapter 11 summary is due on March 22nd as well by midnight. I would have emailed you instructions for that in the future. March 25th, Monday, MLA formatting style review. So we covered MLA throughout the entire semester. I pointed out in great detail every essay we looked at where the MLA was good or where it was bad, the Modern Language Association formatting style. I pointed out in your own essays where it was good and where it was bad, right? Where it needed to have work done in terms of the in-text citation and how it's married up to an entry on the works cited page, or if it isn't correctly formatted. We're going to review it because on the 27th, we have a 20 question multiple choice test. Typically, people do well on this. Is going to be on the 27th, right? You're having until midnight to participate in that test, to go on the Blackboard and take the 20 question multiple choice test. Also, just to back up a bit, on March 22nd, your Chapter 12 summary is due via Blackboard. No class on March 29th. No class on April 1st. That'll be great for a lot of us. April 3rd, review appropriate research style and concepts in revision. So I have a chapter I like to look at from another text, not the text we have, not the Empowered Writer 4th edition, but another text that I used in prior iterations of this class. And we're just going to look at that chapter. And then Chapter 15 summary due via Blackboard by midnight. And I think that, no, we got one more chapter summary on the last class. Okay, so April 5th, we're almost there. I can see the finish line. Research essay rough drafts workshop via Blackboard. That goes for 2 days. Sorry, 2 classes. Right, where I send you an email that morning, just like every other essay, and you upload your research essay rough draft to Blackboard by midnight. Then window closes out at midnight, and then you get assigned 3 random research essay rough drafts by fellow students in our class, and you give some sort of substantive feedback to them. And that fulfills the online participation, right, component of this class. Last class, final research essay due via Blackboard, no later than April 17th, so I give you 7 extra days after the last class to upload to Blackboard. And then your Chapter 16 summary is due via Blackboard by midnight. Both things due by midnight, okay? If that doesn't make sense to you, if it sounds confusing, it'll be less complex, less confusing, less bewildering as the semester progresses. As I stated before, you can always email me if you want clarification or stop by my office for office hours. I'm pretty much here a lot in my office. If I'm not teaching, I'm in my office. I live in Toronto, so I stay a lot in my office to watch documentaries or to read. So I'm here a lot, so just feel free to stop by. The instructional technique for this class, English 252, Introductory Composition, is an online course, but will function partly as an online workshop too. That is to say, we will craft our essay drafts and other writing assignments in order to peer review them by uploading to the Blackboard. Everything we just covered, right? That online workshop of uploading to the Blackboard so you can peer review those 3 randomly assigned student essay rough drafts. Online activities will include short lectures, demonstrations, explanations, as well as a variety of online worksheets for hands-on practice and experience. So we're not doing online worksheets for this class. In addition, students in English 252 will be enrolled in Blackboard. That's going to be very important that you're enrolled in Blackboard and you know how to use it. I'll communicate you through to you through Blackboard. I'll upload all the document examples of essays in Blackboard as well. So it's available through this college's website. Through Blackboard, students would obtain additional course information and have opportunities for virtual collaboration in groups and on projects. Excuse me. Here's the sort of the grade assessment, what the essays actually are, how they're built, the architecture of each essay. So the personal essays, 15%. They all have a different. These have the weight of 15%. The first 3 essays, they're 3 to 5 pages long, double spaced, right? Which is not really hard to achieve because it's double spaced. And adheres to all MLA formatting style. Once you get to expository, the onus and expectation jumps up a bit, right? So expository essays still 50%, 15, 1, 5, 3 to 5 pages, double space, same thing. Adheres to MLA formatting style, so same as a personal, but contains works cited page, right? It has a minimum of 3 sources on the works cited page. So you go out there, you're writing your essay, you've chosen a topic. So now they have to do some preliminary research on the topic that you chose. You have to go out there and find 3 sources that you're going to quote from or paraphrase from, meaning put into your own words, or summarize from. And summary is like you read like a chapter in a book and you summarize it down to 1 paragraph, right? You're going to have a minimum of 3. And some of you, that's going to be hard. You're going to want to have more sources. That's fine. In fact, you can go over this 5-page maximum here. You can go over that number. You just can't go below 3 without being gigged in your grade. And by the way, the works cited page does not count as part of this pagination. It doesn't count as part of the 3. So if you turn in a 2-page essay and then tack on the works cited, that doesn't mean you met the threshold of 3 pages, right? The works cited pages after you write your essay, then you tack that on. It doesn't count as part of the page numbering. Okay, argumentative essay, same thing, 15% of your grade, 3 to 5 pages double space, adheres to all MLA formatting style, contains works cited page, minimum of 3 sources. So it mirrors the same thing as expository in that way. But then we jump up in a number of ways, right? Research essay, 20% of your grade. It jumps up 5%, 5 to 7 pages double space. So that jumps up. It adheres to all MLA formatting style and contains works cited page, as well as a minimum of 5 sources, right? So we jump up 2 sources from your 3 for the rest of the prior essays. As you participate in Blackboard throughout the semester, that counts towards your online workshop participation. It's inevitable. Typically, what happens during every semester is a student comes to me and says, "Hey, I forgot to upload my essay by midnight. The window is closed out. I can't open that window again for you to upload your essay, rough draft to Blackboard." So you just have to miss one of those. You can miss one cycle of uploading your essay to Blackboard and not get penalized on your grade. So that's 15% online participation in Blackboard, then 10% for your chapter text summaries. And that MLA test, if you remember, is 10%. And typically, as I said, people do well. For some reason, people sometimes tend not even do it. I don't know why. It's an easy, quick 10% that you can get. These are the dates, major due dates of all the assignments, right? I think we'll stay within the parameters of these dates within reason. They might be fudged a day or 2 forward, never backward. I won't say instead of February 2nd, it's due February 1st. It'll be later, like February 3rd or 4th, depending on how the online workshop, the pacing of it. You can look at these dates at your leisure. There is no midterm or final exam or any kind of exam in this class, only that MLA test, that 20-question multiple choice test. Late assignments and missed exam policies. Just for us, what really counts is the late assignments. We don't have an exam. Late assignments are penalized 10% per day. You must write me prior to assignment due date if you're facing challenges that require you to reschedule. Bear in mind that rescheduling an assignment due date must occur before the original due date and must be in writing. So in writing, it just means email me. That'll be our, that's the writing component of this policy right here, right? And we try to hammer out another due date, if you're up against it. So plagiarized work will result in a 0 upon first offense and will result in a failure of the course upon second offense. I've never had a failure one until last semester. She clearly plagiarized. She clearly took an essay from the internet and then uploaded to Blackboard for her final. And I said her first 2 essays were not that good. They were in the C range. And the last couple essays were amazing. Graduate level writing. It was creative. It was academic. It was well written. It was well researched. I said, this can't be that she jumped up that much from her first 2 essays. So I ran it through a program on Blackboard called SafeAssign. And sure enough, it came back. It gives you a percentage of what how much is plagiarized. It came up 100% plagiarization, and she could have avoided that just by giving what's called attribution, right? She could have said, instead of just taking the quotation marks off a direct quote and putting it into her essay, which shows me that it's her language, her words, right, coming from her. Instead of that, she took the quotation marks out, didn't say according to so and so, and then quote them, right? She could have easily done that, and that would avoid plagiarism. So other examples of plagiarism include copying passages from another source without proper attribution, what I just said, the according to, paraphrasing another author's work without attribution, again, handing in work already evaluated in another course. You can't do that. You can't hand in an essay in this class. And this has happened in the past too, where a student wrote an essay. They wrote an essay in their biology class, and then they turned it in my class, and it was clearly written APA style and not MLA style. So we can't do that. It's called double dipping, handing in an essay for two classes. You're plagiarizing yourself at that point. And the final sort of type of plagiarism is passing off another's, most traditional one, passing off another person's work as your own. All right, so plagiarism, what we call academic dishonesty, is cheating, are serious offenses that may be punished by failure on exam, paper, or project, failing in a course, and or expulsion from the course. So if you have doubts, if you are borderline, plagiarizing, or if you have doubts that this may be a thing with your writing, just reach out to me, email me the passage, give me the attribution where you got it from, the source. Here's the common grade scheme. Every class has the same thing. I think it's pretty generous. You can see from A minus to A plus is like a 20-point range, which is pretty generous. I mean, A minus is still an A, right? It's still good. Some important stuff: accessibility statement and mental health statement. If you're a student that requires additional accommodations to support your learning and have been approved through our accessibility service office, room B367, it's above the library, please contact your instructor prior to exams or any other forms of evaluation if accommodation is desired. It really doesn't apply to this class because the only thing that I can foresee accommodations being required for would be the MLA test. But then again, you have till midnight to do that, right? Accommodation statements typically give you double time what the regular student would get. So if the class is 2 hours, you would get 4 hours to take an exam, right? But you get much more than that for my test. And there is no exam component to this class. Mental health statement would be important. Medicine College recognizes the importance of students' mental health and well-being and has many resources available for supporting students throughout their academic journey. So this is important. You can reach out to them. We're going to look at the contact information in a moment of the mental health services here on campus. You can reach out to them via email or in person. You can remain anonymous. Um, Once we get to a certain part of the semester, people get stressed out, they get anxiety, they start avoiding assignments, right? Maybe they don't turn something in. Just as a cautionary tale, I had a student a few semesters ago. Um, she broke up with her boyfriend. It was a pretty bad, nasty breakup, and came to me, or she went to student services, mental health services, and said that her boyfriend is contacting her professors and saying that she's plagiarizing and cheating on all her assignments. And she said that was affecting her ability to turn in essays within my class or any other assignment in any other class she was taking. Her boyfriend did not contact me. She came to me and said he's been contacting my other professors and don't believe him when he contacts you if he does. Anyway, he didn't contact me. He was pretty much extorting her. Um, so it was mid-semester. She only turned in 2 essays. Or no, she only turned in 1 essay at that point. I think 3 essays were to be turned in by that point. So mental health services contacted me after she contacted them and said, "Hey, Jeremy, can we hammer out a contract? We could renegotiate her due dates so that she can maybe at least have a chance to pass the class, not excel, but pass the class." And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Unfortunately, despite us hammering that contract out, she never turned anything in again. She failed the class. So that's a shame. Services such as counseling, support groups, self-help modules dedicated to helping you manage things like anxiety, stress, depression, and relationships are accessible to students on the campus as well as online. To connect with mental health and counseling, visit the student advising desk across from registration here on campus by calling this number. Information is also available online at this hyperlink. In addition, the Student at Risk Support Team, SARS, otherwise known, is here to respond to concerns around mental health and physical well-being, security, and academic issues, offering additional intervention and connect these students with appropriate resources on campus at this link. So please use these resources if you feel like they're required for you. Please too, you can reach out to me, just directly to me and say, "Hey, I'm having stress in my life. I'm being overwhelmed with assignments. Is there any way I can get an extension, a couple days extension on this essay? And of course, I'm not draconian. We can do that. We can work something out. So, student responsibilities. What's incumbent upon you in this class? Attend class lectures on a regular basis. Obviously, with us, this is asynchronous, meaning, and it's online, meaning you can listen to these videos anytime you want, just as long as you listen to them at some point and watch them at some point, right? Before the assignments are due, before the rough drafts are due, right? So you have an understanding of what I expect of you in terms of your essay writing. You can wait to the end of to the weekend to listen to all three lectures if you wish, right? Up to you. Read all assignment text prior to class. So just the only reason that we're gonna the only reason we have this textbook is to do chapter summaries. That's it, right? Just have those read and have those done by midnight when they're due on those due dates, right? A lot of these apply to a brick and mortar meaning face to face in class, right? Not online class like this one. Craft all class assignments using strictly MLA. This is important, formatting style, right? APA is not permitted. The paper will not do well if you turn in an essay using APA. Be attentive and respectful to the instructor and your fellow students at all times. That's typically not a problem ever. Be observant of the diversity of ideas and subject matter expressed in this class. Okay, and there will be many. In an English class, I would say beyond any other class, say philosophy or psychology, I think they're similar in terms of what you can talk about. English class, first and foremost, is an open marketplace of sharing ideas, right? No matter what they are, we can do that, and we are permitted to do that in this class. Share those ideas, no matter how controversial they are, how taboo they are. It's important that we feel freedom to write on the subject matter we want to write on in order to explore that landscape, right? To probe the depths of the human condition. Okay, a lot to take in. I realize that. Um, a lot of information I was able to communicate and impart to you today. Don't worry about it. Once we get into the semester further, it'll make more sense. Once we get past the cycle of the first essay, it'll make more sense what's expected of you, how you need to upload your essays to Blackboard, and how you need to give commentary to the three essays that are assigned to you, right? Yeah, important, crucial even. Reach out to me if you have any questions or concepts that you want clarification for. As a side note, there's a writing center here on campus. I implore you to use it. It's across from the Crave restaurant. Uh, you can do it online. Just type in Google Writing Center in Medicine College. It'll come up, one of the first links. You click on it, and you can upload your essay to the Writing Center, and they'll correct the MLA for you or any grammar or punctuation errors. Or you can show up face to face with them, and they'll help you craft your essay if you're stuck on something. You can always reach out to me too. Also, in terms of this has become an issue in some classes, AI, artificial intelligence, we can't use that this semester. We can't use a chat GPT if you're familiar with that to write your essay. All right, there's red flags that come up in Blackboard when you do so, so you can't do that. All right, um, I've never had an issue with it, but some professors have reached out to me. Last semester was an issue. She had to fail 7 people, not because they used chat GPT, right, but because she graded the essay as it was actually she graded the essay under the premise that the student actually wrote it. And it just didn't meet the academic rigor because ChatGPT doesn't have that ability yet to do so, nor will we want it to. We want to sharpen our own writing, right? And our own ability to communicate concepts and ideas. All right. So again, my name is Jeremy Jackson. This is Introductory Composition, English 252. We're going to meet, quote unquote, meet, because we're not really meeting, right? Uh, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Always look at your email for a video link, a YouTube video link on Monday, Wednesday, Friday by in and around 1 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Okay. If you have any questions for me, email me um, at my email address, as you can see listed here on the course outline. Okay. We'll talk to you later. See you on, quote unquote, see you on Wednesday. Bye.